Well, she's back in the garage. Don't know what possessed me to start working on this thing again, but something did. So originally, after I finished the white mud mower, well, I told myself that I wasn't going to do any more mower wrenching, no more money into mowers, nothing like that. I needed to put my money somewhere else into, you know, my truck, dirt bikes, whatever. More important stuff. Well, a couple months later, coming out here every day and, well, drinking a bunch of beer, not having anything to do, just making a mess. So I figured I'd come up with something to do after work. And well, I had this old hot pile fucking in the backyard, and well, she was listed on Marketplace for 250 bucks. I got about 600 into her between going and getting it, actually buying the mower. I bought it for 300. It was about 100 bucks in fuel. There's 400, and I put 200 into the motor trying to get it running. Brand new carbontator, brand new coil. I bypassed the computer that was on there. So yeah, this is the new project, and I'm going a little bit different route than I did on the white mower. Obviously, the white mower is pure mud mower and nothing else. It's the type of mower that you throw on a trailer or in the bed of the truck and take to the mud hole, hit it a couple times, and load it up and take it home. I don't really care about it sitting outside. It's been sitting outside for the last 6 months. I start it up every so often just so the battery doesn't die, because that thing was like 100 bucks. But I'm going a totally different route on this mower. Now I'm gonna actually take my time with this. On the white mower, I took my time on a lot of stuff, but I also rushed a lot of things. The paint job wasn't as proper as it could have been. I didn't really care. I wanted to keep that somewhat rustic look, but also give it some fresh paint. The wheels were just spray painted black. The hood is made out of 16 gauge sheet metal, and I made a custom grill. I did a lot of things when I was absolutely hammered, like I mounted the light bar and I was drunk. And it's completely crooked on the hood. The seat is completely messed up. I mean, there's a million little redneck things that I did when I was hammered, and I didn't really care about it. It was like, whatever, it's a mud mower. So I'm gonna rip this engine out, take off everything that I paid for, probably take off the starter, even though I probably burnt that up just trying to get this thing running. Really just take off anything that's you know, worth something, or maybe could be used as spare parts on another engine. But I just don't like these engines to begin with. I like Briggs & Stratton. I don't know. I mean, they're cool. I know they're pretty reliable motors, but when they do have issues, they're really hard to figure out. I couldn't really figure these motors out. So I'm going to look for a Briggs & Stratton. I'm looking for something in the 10 to 18 horse range. I'd really like another 16. I think that would be perfect, but I'd settle for, you know, a 12 or a 14. Whatever's really available. But this thing is going to be pretty when I'm done. I'm going through, I'm getting rid of all the rust. I'm going to paint the actual frame on it, and then I'm going to paint match the body to my truck. And then obviously with the new motor, I want this thing to be fast-ish. Not saying that the mud mower isn't fast. That thing hauls ass because it has an 18 horse paired with a 3-speed built for 8 horsepower. So that thing already hauls ass, but I want this thing to be even faster. So even though it might have a smaller engine on it, I'm going to do a pulley swap, which I didn't do on the mud mower. And I'm just going to hop it up to its full potential. This thing is paired with a nice 6-speed. I forget the actual specs on it. When I actually start going through and building this thing, I will do more research and get more into depth on it. When I first got it and I was tearing into it trying to get it running, I literally knew everything about this mower. And it's just been like 6 to 8 months, so I completely forgot. And this poor old motor's get up and go has got up and went. So now a lot of the actual rebuilding and stripping this thing and putting the new parts on it will be done in another video. But in this video, I'm gonna go ahead and start pulling some stuff off. I might even pull the engine out tonight. Just get started on stripping it. I already washed it earlier as to why the floor is wet. Because, man, this thing needs a cleaning. Look at all that oil and grease down there. She definitely used to be a leaker. So on these vertical shaft engines, there is quite literally a vertical shaft that goes down from the crank to the pulley. And then there's a little key that goes up, sometimes 2 keys that go up in the pulley into the shaft. You take those 2 keys out. They're usually held in by set screws. And then that pulley down there, that little guy, drops down and you can lift the motor out with the shaft, but without the pulley. Otherwise, you can't take it out. You know, you can't take it out with the pulley because the hole's not big enough that the shaft goes through. So I need to do that. When I did the 8-horse swap, I had to cut it. And then I did another mower where I had to cut it as well. So I'm hoping I don't have to do that. It's kind of a pain in the ass to get a cutting wheel up in there and cut through that, you know, shaft. They're usually like, you know, inch to inch and a half thick, depending on the horsepower. But this is a 16.5, so I really don't want to have to cut through that. Other than that, taking these engines out is really simple. You just take the pulley off, rip out any bullshit wiring that you're not going to need anyways. Sometimes you have to unbolt the exhaust. Sometimes they're connected to the frames. I believe it's kind of like mounted to the frame on this. And then it's just 4 bolts, 2 on each side and a nut on the bottom, and the whole thing just comes out. Like I said, I'll probably do most of the stripping of this engine, you know, like taking the starter, the brand new carb off, the computer bypass, even though I probably won't need that. Anything that is worth saving on this that I could transfer over to a new engine or have as spare parts, I'm gonna do that with the engine still on this mower. It just makes it a little bit easier to work on. But I am gonna try and have this thing ripped out tonight. That is the goal. Good boy, buddy. Yeah, Pete Dog. Shooting choppers. It's a good boy. Got the carb off. I drained almost all the oil out. At least all of it that I didn't spill. Got that in there for the next motor. Always good to have some good oil laying around. Took the dipstick out, took the starter off. Now I'm stripping the rest of the wiring off the body, and then she's pretty much ready to come out after I get the pulley off. Now another reason I drained the oil out of this is because when I got the engine, I changed it and I never really got it running. So still good oil. Got the oil, carburetor and the air filter, dipstick, computer bypass, stator, thingamajiggy. I'm gonna take the spark plug out, and then the starter, which may or may not be good. Now I just have to take this guy out and get the coil. And then take the throttle cable off. Probably rip the rest of that wiring out, at least detach it from the motor, and then she's ready to come out. Ain't that right, Pete Dog? That's right. That's right. Alrighty, well, pretty much all ready to pull this engine. I got the pulley off. Just this bolt on the bottom, and then set up this screwdriver right here on the top, so that didn't spin up there. Came right off, and then see the little keyhole right there? So there should be, oh, there it is. So there's that little key in there. Obviously that was pretty rusty, so I had to use this big piece of all thread and just pried it off. But now we're free. Now we just have that couple bolts to get out. I think there's 3 or 4. So we got this one. It's super dirty under here. We got this one, that one, and then there's that one up there, and then somewhere over here I think there's a 4th one hidden.